We have another cold front coming through this weekend. It is weak, but you'll notice it pass through. Beyond that, we really warm things up. What's going on, guys? The meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. Good to see you. Hit that subscribe button if you are finding this content helpful. First, we're going to talk about the cold front. I'll show you where it is, what it's going to do to the state of Florida as it arrives through Saturday. We're going to break down the Saturday forecast for North Florida, Central Florida, and, of course, South Florida. And then we're going to focus on kind of the longer range over the next 6 days plus as we really flip-flop the temperature pattern and start to crank up the warmth again. So if this kind of cooler morning deal hasn't been your thing, it's going to be going away for a little while. Again, before we get into the video, if you do want to stay updated on all things Florida weather, you have to hit subscribe. Thank you for doing that. If you happen to find this content helpful, hit that thumbs up button. It really does help us out a lot. All right, we've seen a lot of orange. If you've been watching News 6 in Central Florida, tuning in, been showing you this a lot. The water vapor imagery, the drier air. Look at it all pour in. This dry air, represented by the orange, continues to invade a lot of Florida. That's keeping our skies mostly sunny. That's keeping the humidity relatively low. The lingering front that we had that delivered this, that stronger one from last week, it's still hanging tight right here. You see all of this blue and orange. That's the moisture kind of surging up and ahead of it. We have another weak little front back here. It's going to cross into Florida as we get into Saturday afternoon, and it's really not going to cool us down this time, but what it's going to do is it's going to send us another shot of drier air. So we're talking about the dew point going down. That's the humidity, your comfort. So that's going to go back up, and then borderline window opening weather returns. It's gotten a little more humid over the past couple of days, but we're going to dry things out again before more humidity surges back. We're going to get into that, but I want to show you your pinpoint Florida forecast first. Gorgeous day on Saturday. Hardly a cloud in the sky in North Florida. We have temperatures in the 70s and low 80s. Gainesville, we're at 83, 79 in Lake City, 81 in Jacksonville, Pensacola. We're checking in on Saturday at 80 degrees on the nose. As we move back into Central Florida, a little bit warmer, low to mid 80s for us. 84 in Ocala. We're in Daytona Beach at 83. St. Pete Beach, we're talking temperatures at 82 degrees. Lakeland, we're at 87. Vero Beach, 86. The one common thing, goose egg in the rainfall department. Look at all the sunshine across Central Florida. We may have a stray sprinkle as we move into South Florida, but still, that's going to be few and far between. Sunshine going to dominate our skies again for most of the day on Saturday as the front clears us. Temperatures back to the mid to upper 80s. So again, this one does not have a huge temperature drop like the last cold front does, but it will subtly change our air mass up to that drier air mass to continue to allow things to be kind of refreshing out there. Again, maybe not as refreshing as the last front, but you get the drift. We're going to be talking about some drier air sliding in. Beyond that, though, look at this. This is the update from the Climate Prediction Center. The pattern is completely going to change here. The cooler air is going to shift back to the Intermountain West and Pacific Northwest. The orange color you see on your screen there is going to surge back to the east. That includes the Deep South and South Florida. So we have a lot of warmth coming down the pipeline. And I'm going to show you that right here. And then we're going to get into a tropical update. We have Hurricane Tammy, by the way. So there's Monday, 6 o'clock. Temperatures back to the low to mid 80s. So the middle 80s are starting to come back. I don't think we're talking about 95 or anything like that. It's going to be all relative to where we should be for this time of the year. Averages are in the 70s and low 80s in Central and North Florida. Of course, a little bit warmer in South Florida, but nonetheless, it is going to be warmer. It's going to be noticeably more humid as well. There's 7 o'clock on Tuesday. Again, highs on Tuesday back into the middle 80s across most of Central Florida. Upper 70s in the Panhandle. So we're still doing okay in the Panhandle. Nice and refreshing weather. 3 o'clock on Wednesday, we're still in the low to mid 80s through Central and South Florida. And then we're going to continue to keep things pretty warm really through the bulk of the work week ahead. So that's something noteworthy here, that while it's still not going to be that rich summertime humidity per se surging back to Florida, it is going to be more humid again, maybe not as window opening, and it's going to be much warmer into the afternoon. So we're not talking about 40s and 50s across parts of Florida. We're talking about our 60s and 70s for the most part coming back to start your morning. All right, Hurricane Tammy, fresh update from the Hurricane Center, at least from the 11 o'clock advisory. Now a hurricane. 75-mile-per-hour storm. This is not coming to Florida, by the way. This is going to impact Puerto Rico in the sense, if I have any people watching that are either from the island or a family on the island, we're going to get outer rain band. So they're not going to take the landfall. They're not going to take the eye wall of the storm. Parts of the Eastern Caribbean, though, have the potential to take landfall here, take the eyewall, the strongest part of the storm. That's closer towards Antigua and Barbuda. And then, of course, St. Martin, we are still in that. And then also St. Kitts and Nevis, we are in that as well. So, again, just keep that in mind that Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, they're going to get in on some of those outer rain bands, nasty at times through the weekend. But the worst of the storm here is going to stay just to the Eastern Caribbean here. So, again, watching that for our friends in the Caribbean. But, again, if you're wondering about what Tammy is going to do for Puerto Rico, impacts aren't zero. A couple inches of rain on the eastern side of the island, and I'll show you that right here. That's why I want to show you the high-res future radar. As we go through Saturday, kind of lifts kind of right up parallel to the Caribbean islands, to the Leeward Islands, and then you see right here, these are some of those outer bands that start to materialize, strengthening hurricane there Sunday afternoon. It's already lifted north of the Caribbean, but you see it there. We're going to deal with some kind of pounding on the northern side of Puerto Rico just like that. So some nasty weather coming to Puerto Rico, but the worst of it is going to stay well towards our east on the island. One more thing in the tropical update, Hurricane Center has added a new blob to the map, and it's in the area. If you've been watching the Florida forecast on the New 6 Click Orlando YouTube channel, we've been highlighting this area for about 3 weeks now, that we would likely see something develop right in the Western Caribbean. It remained to be seen what the additional weather pattern was, if it was going to be lifted up into the Gulf or just kind of meander down through Central America. It appears now that if we get some development, it is going to stay closer to Central America, bring some heavy rain to parts of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, into Honduras, maybe as far north as Belize, into Mexico, and then toward Panama as well. So we're going to be watching that down there. But right now, indications are that this thing is not going to lift into the Gulf of Mexico. Of course, we see that a lot in October, that stuff that gets brewing down toward the Jamaica area or southwest of Jamaica and in towards right in this pocket in the extreme southwest Caribbean gets pulled north by the jet stream. I don't think that's going to happen this time, but we were watching it closely. There are a few ensemble members here that do try to lift it closer towards Belize or closer toward the Yucatan Peninsula, but a lot of the members just keep it, if it even does develop. Again, there's a low shot right now, kind of meandering right there and then crossing over Central America. You see all those other L's popping up kind of like out of my ear. That's going to be another storm, maybe even a hurricane in the Pacific side, not in the Atlantic side. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have enjoyed the cooler weather, hit that thumbs up button for me. It's going to be going away a little bit. Again, it's not our middle of the summer heat and humidity by any means. That's all relative to normal, that map that I showed you. But nonetheless, we are going to be changing the weather pattern a little bit, and we are going to keep things on the warmer side over the next 6 to 10 days or so. No other big cold front in sight over that time frame to kind of bring us back down to those refreshing temperatures. If you found this content helpful, please hit that thumbs up button. If you want to stay updated on all things Florida weather, and who doesn't, hit that subscribe button. NOAA released its winter outlook, and it talked a lot about what we did. It looked very similar to the winter outlook that we released on this channel. I will post that right here again if you want to take a look at what I think is going to happen this year. We've already seen a preview, unfortunately, with severe weather in Florida last week. We're going to have the potential for more of that with a very active subtropical jet stream going forward. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend.